Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, economy, and development in Nigeria and around the world. Abdul Ningi, Senator Abdul Ningi, has been suspended. He was accused of being behind a plot to impeach the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, using his allegation that the budget of 2024 was padded by as much as 3 trillion naira. Is it true that there were plots to impeach Akpabio by northern senators? How true is this? Now, given the fact that this allegation is coming from the Senate leader, Michael Opayemi, who has the ear of the presidency. Remember Michael Opayemi? He was among the witnesses who defended Tinubu's controversial certificate scandal at the tribunal. So you can rightly call him one of the Tinubu boys, because his political development had been tied to the Tinubu politics. He alleged that the plot was to remove Akpabio from office before 13th of June. He said that's what is all this all about. And that the plot was part of the historical pattern of northern senators undermining southern Senate presidents. And he went memorially to talk about the fact that the Senate had always had stable leadership when a northerner is in charge. He made reference to the fact that David Mark had a stable Senate for 8 years as Senate President. The same thing with Ahmed Lawan, even largely the former governor of Kwara State, when he was Senate President, Saraki. He also largely had a stable Senate, even though he wasn't impeached. So he now recalled how senators from the South were impeached during Obasanjo's period and all that. But he said once the North is in charge, there is stability in the National Assembly. But is that enough to explain away a humongous amount of 3 trillion being inserted, allegedly, into the budget of 2024? Why is it that it was not investigated? Because what we witness is not a thorough investigation. It was like to reprimand Ningi for having the audacity to question the Senate President over the alleged budget pardon. And the northern senators obviously were intimidated. They were intimidated into silence, and they threw Ningi under the bus. And now Ningi has been suspended for 3 months. That is not supposed to be the case. The case ought to be a thorough investigation of the allegation that $3 trillion projects, 3 trillion naira projects cannot be tied to any project. 3 trillion cannot be tied to any project. That's what they are alleging. This was deliberately padded to obviously enrich some people in the National Assembly. That's what they are alleging. What Ningi is alleging. He wanted this issue to be investigated and ironed out. Because ordinarily, what the Senate should have done is to sit down and listen to the points these people were making about the projects that were not authorized, that were inserted without the authorization of the National Assembly. But they didn't do that. They basically sat on Tuesday, March 12th, to deal with Ningi, to punish him for bringing them out in the public that they padded budget. It's not something they want the public to be aware of. But the issue is, one of the issues to note is this. On Thursday last week, Senator Ningi, under the aegis of Northern Senator Forum, with other Northern senators, met with Akpabio in his guest house in Maitama over this budget padding issue. Now, before they got to that meeting, before they arranged this meeting, the Northern senators that were denying Ningi, that threw him under the bus, if there was no basis for the issues raised by Ningi, why did they even agree for him to call such a meeting? Because Abdul Ningi is a ranking senator. He's a respected lawmaker who had been in the National Assembly several times. He cannot just raise such an issue without any substantive proof to convince his Northern senators, his colleague Northern senators, before they move ahead to invite Akpabio for explanation, to express their grievances. So I do not believe this narrative ongoing that all these things were just the mere machination of Ningi. What I'm seeing is largely a pattern of intimidation. So that people be reminded, other senators be reminded that if you follow the path of Ningi, you want to be a hero, you want to discover how things are really done, there will be a price you have to pay. Because Ningi called for a meeting, Northern senators, they were there, including the Deputy Senate President, including the Chief Whip. They were there in that meeting on Thursday, according to media reports. They attended the meeting. So why did they attend the meeting without going through the evidence that's supposed to be the basis for meeting the Senate President? Those Northern senators who are claiming that they are not part of it. And those of them that were silent, they didn't say anything. they threw Ningi under the bus. They threw Ningi under the bus. So because they threw Ningi under the bus has raised a lot of questions, like I'm raising it here. Is it that Ningi is bereaved of what it takes to be identified as budget pardon? That they all now denied him that he is on his own. That's the question to ask. Now, there was also a media report, I think by Premium Times. After that meeting, Akpabio was said to have agreed to the issues raised by the northern senators, that he's going to look into it, and that they are going to find out how those projects were inserted into the budget. But it was alleged that after their meeting, Akpabio surreptitiously was mobilizing southern senators against the northern senators. Because as far as Akpabio was concerned, investigating the budget pardon is not the issue. It is that they want to remove him from office. And if you look at the people that were talking, from Senator Jimo Ibrahim and Michael Opayemi, you could see that these are Tinubu boys that was livid. Because what they see it as their attempt to impeach Akpabio was an affront to Tinubu. Don't forget, Tinubu single-handedly picked Akpabio. Akpabio was not really, in the true sense of the word, a democratic choice for the position. Was literally handpicked for the Senate presidency. So if you want to remove Akpabio, you have to do that with the consent of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who put him there. And his boys were ready to fight dating, if need be. You could see the anger if you watched it. You know, Opayemi in his statement, he said, "Now I don't want to talk as Senate leader. He said, I want to talk like a Southern senator. I want to talk like Senator Michael Opayemi on my own basis." And then he began to rail out how northern senators had always undermined Senate presidents of Southern extraction. And Jimo Ibrahim insisting that federal government should prosecute Ningi for spreading false information that could threaten public peace. So it was like these guys were out to deal with Ningi. They were not out to find out the truth about the issue that Ningi raised. That was not the basis. That's not what I saw. I saw a Senate that was determined to do everything to protect Akpabio. And I saw that these northern senators were intimidated. Of course, their intimidation began from the presidency. You know that after Ningi's interview with the BBC Hausa, where he was alleged to have said that there are 2 federal budgets in operation, the presidency was livid. They issued a statement through Bayo Nanoga, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy. And the presidency made this position clear. And that their position was an indication that they don't want Ningi's side of the story. They want to present the presidency as being in the right place. They see Ningi as somebody who wants to create problem unnecessarily. But nobody bothers about the real issue, the budget pardon, the consequences of it on the welfare and dividends of democracy of Nigerians. And following that statement from the presidency by Onanuga, the northern senators chickened out and threw their colleague under the bus because they don't want to be seen to be moving in a direction that is contrary to what the presidency wants. Because if they know that Ningi was a liar, if the northern senators know that Ningi was a liar, he has no basis, no point. Why did they attend his meeting? Because the meeting, from all indication, there was an agenda for that meeting. And many of them were communicated the agenda. Why did they attend when they know that he has no evidence? And in any case, when they had the meeting with Akpabio, Ningi presented evidence, sort of, there's issues about the pardon, to which the Senate President said he will look into it to find out how it happened and address the grievances of northern senators who were claiming that the budget was lopsided in favor of the South, especially Southwest. So what we just witnessed is an evidence that this Senate is not going to be any different from Ahmad Lawan Robert Stamp Senate of Buhari era, of the 9th Senate. Because basically, these people are not ready for rigorous interrogation of any issue. They are not interested. Because, and I want Nigerians to take note of this, there had been series of budget pardon in the National Assembly for a very long time. There have been series of budget pardon. Budget pardon is not a new thing. Throughout the period of Buhari as president, from 2016, budget pardon had been a constant in the National Assembly equation. Now, if that be the case, that almost all the budgets that were passed throughout Buhari period were padded. So why would the Tinubu's budget not be padded? Why should it be the best budget without any padding? For those who want us to believe that there was no padding, that Ningi was just trying to create crisis in order to impeach the Senate President. How could we believe them that the budget of Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not padded, when many of those who are senators in the 9th Senate, in the 8th Senate, they are still in this present Senate? So why would they change their habit of padding budget because Bola Ahmed Tinubu is president? What they ought to have done is to look into the issues raised by Ningi with open mind. With open mind. But obviously, they did their their hurried investigation without an open mind. Remember that in 2016, this budget pardon issue consumed the then chairman of House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation, Abdul Ningi. He was removed because of the intrigues after he raised issue about budget pardon in 2016. And that was when Yakubu Dogara was the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He accused Dogara and 3 others of taking away 40 billion out of 100 billion that was allocated for constituency projects and distributing same among themselves. In that year, 480 billion were discovered to have been fraudulently inserted into the budget. Now, this was a pattern throughout the Buhari years until 2023 budget. There were these issues that budgets were being padded, and there were indications that it was true. So if it was true that budgets were being padded, why should we believe that Tinubu's own budget was not padded, as people want us to believe? It was not padded. It was okay, because of the pattern that we had, because of the pattern of budget pardon, the historical record of budget pardon. That should have been enough to convince anybody that Ningi may indeed be right. So my take from the whole thing is that Ningi may have been suspended, but that doesn't mean that he was wrong. We can only know the truth when there is an independent investigation. Independent investigation, which we are not likely to see under the present leadership of Akpabio as Senate President and Tinubu as the President of Nigeria. We are not likely to get that. So let us just know it as a fact that Ningi may have been suspended. Ningi may have been thrown under the bus by northern senators. Ningi may have been rejected. Ningi and his constituents in Bauchi may be suffering for speaking the truth. We may never know until there is an independent investigation. But if we are to go on history, on record of National Assembly budget in the last 10 years or even beyond, budget pardon had been common, and there is every likelihood that there was budget pardon in the 2024 budget presented by Bola Ahmed Tinubu and superintended over by Senator Godswill Akpabio. So nobody should portray Ningi as speaking out of point or just speaking flippantly without knowing what he was doing. I truly believe that Ningi, as a ranking lawmaker of the National Assembly, know what he was talking about. Only that he has been intimidated, as well as the northern senators. That is my take on this matter. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, Google will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.